1-2 here. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. I'm Eli from IgnitionTube, and I just bought a 192,000 mile Audi RS4. I have an interesting story behind it. I have a growing love affair with the car, that's for sure. But before all of that, I would like to kind of give you guys an intro to the car, and we shot a little cinematic, so check it out. I hope you enjoy it.
We are an endangered species, you and I. We, lovers of speed. We, devotees of power, performance, and noise. Go away, we are told, and take your carbon fibre and your fire-spitting V12s with you. There's hardly a place for us out here anymore, not amongst all the commuters and congestion. Not in this growing age of safety and restraint. Where practicality trumps adrenaline. Where the ratio of miles to the gallon is championed over horsepower to the weight. The evidence, it's everywhere. You and I are being squeezed out, pushed aside and hunted down at every hairpin turn. And yet, there is hope.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I figured nobody better than Jeremy Clarkson to introduce the RS4. That's actually the intro from Forza Motorsport 4, if you didn't know, which was my first kind of car video game and what got me into like modifying cars virtually. Like I said, this is an RS4. It's a 2007. It has 192,000 miles on it, and I actually won it off of an auction on Cars and Bids. But before we talk about that, let me take you back maybe 2 or 3 months. My Audi S6 behind me, this white one over here, is an absolutely fantastic car. I love that car. It's been the absolute perfect daily, so no issues with it whatsoever. However, what I've been looking to do is kind of change it up on the channel and introduce something a little bit different. So like I said, I won the car off of Cars and Bids. Now, believe it or not, the day before I found this RS4, I was bidding on a Porsche Cayenne GTS, which is a totally different car in a totally different realm than the RS4, but I thought it would be something interesting, and maybe we do like an overland thing with it or something like that. You know, just something different for the channel. My friend Jake and I have been talking back and forth a lot about buying an RS4. I wasn't necessarily planning on buying one with 192,000 miles on it, but this one had a decent service history. It was listed on Cars and Bids, and it was going the next day. So here I am, the morning of buying the car. I was bidding it up, I was talking to coworkers, and I actually had a dentist appointment at 1:30, which is exactly when the auction ended. So I ran the bid up right before I left for the dentist to my cap. What I was gonna bid on the car, I was done, that was it. There was another fine gentleman in there named Scoobs who was also bidding on the car, went back and forth a couple different times. And so I left the house. I went to my dentist appointment, drove the S6 up there, and with 1 minute left in the auction, it was $500 over what I had set as my personal limit for the car. I had a couple different people text me and say, just bid one more time. And so that's what I did. I bid one more time. And the timer went down and went down. I was expecting the Scoobs guy to come in and purchase the car, and long story short, he did not. So I had a minor panic attack, and then as soon as I won the car, I had to go inside and get 2 cavities drilled. Believe it or not, I made it through that dentist appointment with 0 Novocaine. My mind was going a million miles a minute. I hadn't planned to buy an RS4 that fast. I hadn't planned to buy one with that many miles on it, and it was just a pretty wild thing, but super exciting nonetheless. Organized shipping through my homies over at DK Auto Transport, which are also the guys who ship the S6, if you didn't know. So the car showed up. It actually got picked up on Monday at 12:30 and was here in Massachusetts Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Let me show you guys what delivery looks like. All right. All right, I haven't even driven it yet, and Jenna has claimed that she's gonna drive it.
Stay with me.
Go ahead.
I'm nervous.
Don't stall it.
I'm scared.
You're on camera.
Bye, Mommy.
So, a very pleasant surprise. The car is grinding into third gear if you single clutch it. If you double clutch it, it doesn't grind, and if you just like put it in, well, I guess you'd be double clutching. You put it in neutral, and then you slide into third, it doesn't grind, but it's grinding going into third gear. A little frustrated with that, but the clutch feels good. The car drives nice. Everything's smooth so far. We'll take it on the highway on the way home. We'll see what we feel. Do you like it? Yes or no? Yeah. Okay, good. He didn't want to ride back in the S6. He decided that this was the car that... I can understand why people love these so much, even after that brief drive. Like, there's a lot of character in this car. So like, there's a lot to be excited about. You can tell by my smile, it's exciting. The third gear grinding thing is so on my mind that like, that's overcoming all of the other stuff. Like, if you've ever bought a car and you've had an issue with it, I think you understand what I'm saying. But like, this is exciting. This is freaking cool. It's 192,000 miles. It's bound to have something wrong with it. But the paint on the outside's pretty mint. Everything about the car is pretty clean. It's just that it's got a Milltek valve. Oh, maybe you just have to rev it high and then it doesn't grind. So delivery day came with a little bit of a hidden surprise. As you saw, the third gear synchro was not super happy with us. I actually immediately, like I said, drove the car down to Connecticut and went to FC Puro. And after work that day, we went ahead and flushed the transmission fluid with Redline MT90 to see if that would make a difference. All right, we weren't recording, but this is my fault because I handed Berto the camera and said record please and didn't tell him how to. The top plug is loose. The bottom plug is loose, and now we're gonna see if I can get this out without burning myself.
Transmission fluid?
Ooh. So we warmed it up before we took the fluid out.
Oh yeah, 8,000 RPM.
Are you ready, YouTube? If this doesn't solve our issue, we're gonna have a very expensive car on our hands. Let's see what happens. Fingers crossed. If it was gonna do it, it would do it here. Oh no!
I like this. I'm definitely gonna be looking for one of these.
You gotta go on Cars and Bids, and you got a bid with 1 minute left, and you too could be a lucky owner of a B7 RS4. Unfortunately, the grind is still there. It's definitely less, but it is still present for sure. If you're gentle in the third gear, no grind at all, whereas before it was grinding pretty significantly. But if you try to shift fast, especially when the transmission is cold, she'll give you a little action, which I guess isn't necessarily the end of the world, but it's not a great feeling when it comes to actually shifting the car. With that said, there is a lot of other things to talk about on the car, and I think I'll actually save that for a separate video because I want to talk to you guys about what the RS4 is and what makes this so special. So I'm sure a lot of you are Volkswagen Audi enthusiasts and you know a lot about the RS4s. About 2,000 of them came to the US. About 25-ish% of those were Daytona Grey. It's the second most common color after the black color, which I don't know the name of off the top of my head. But it is an absolutely fantastic looking car. So if I'm not mistaken, this is actually the first RS car that we got in the United States. It's a 6-speed manual. It's got a 4.2 liter V8 that revs to 8,000 RPMs. It really is just a magical package. And I think it's something where it's on a lot of Volkswagen and Audi enthusiasts' bucket list. It's not so much a dream car. And I don't want to speak down on anyone whose dream car it is, but I think this is more of like a car that you're like, man, that would be really cool to own, as opposed to, man, that's a car I really want to own. But I'm understanding more and more why the people who buy these cars and the people who own these cars really are just super, super passionate about them. There is something magical about this high revving V8 and the 6-speed manual, the Recaro seats, just the factory wide body. Everything about this car is just wild. And it just begs you to rev it out. It begs you to drive it. Even with 192,000 miles on it, although I do think I have a fairly clean example, it really, really, really just wants to run. So, like I said, not so much of a dream car, at least for me. It wasn't something I was like, man, I'm gonna have one of those one day, but the opportunity presented itself, and I thought, man, that would be a really, really, really cool car to own. And so we went ahead and purchased it, and it's gonna need a little bit of love, as you'll see in a future video, like I said, but I'm overall just in love with the car, and everyone who has driven the car so far has been like, man, like that is really, really, really good. Much more content to come on the B7 RS4. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of the whole package. We have some polishing to do, we have some maintenance to do. We're just gonna switch up the video style. So we'll still be doing DIYs on the S6. I don't want you to think that we're gonna forget about the S6 altogether. We have downpipes for that, we have a heat exchanger for that. But we're also introducing something different with the B7 RS4, and something that, you know, we're not gonna be doing stage mods. We're not gonna be doing too much tuning on this car. We're gonna be doing a lot of mechanical work. We're gonna be doing a lot of, you know, like paint correction, and most of all, we're gonna be doing a lot of driving on this car. I'd like to be in the driver's seat when this car turns 200,000 miles. I've already put about 400 miles on it in just 3 days of ownership so far. Don't think for a second that I am not excited to, one, join the RS clan, but two, own this car in general, because I know for a fact it is a very special package. Now, as far as future videos that you can expect on this car, we need to do injectors, we need to do a carbon clean, we need to do some axles. I don't want to give away too much else, but there's some body stuff on it. We're gonna take it over to Mike's Auto Body in Malden and have Mike check it out, see what he thinks about it. We gotta throw it up on the lift, make sure Billy approves of it as well. And then, like I said, plenty more S6 content coming in the future. So if you guys could do me a favor, and if you're new to the channel, click the subscribe button. Stay tuned for future RS videos. Go back and check a couple S6 videos as well. That car is super exciting, and that is genuinely a dream car for me. This is a bucket list car. That is a dream car. So, man, we set this up here, and I want to give Trent a huge shout out and Pound a huge shout out for helping me film. But we set this up here, and I was like, no way. These are both my car, and that's pretty wild. So I really hope you guys stick around for the ride. We are going to have some fun with these cars, that is for sure. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Go out there and spread some positivity, and I will catch you guys in the next video. 192,000 mile RS4, lots to come.